And I'm going to put this on full screen so that I can see you guys really well. I have a very large monitor in my room now. And you're over there, and my camera is right here. So good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming. Thank you for taking care of yourselves like this morning. I'm going to ask us to start with a meditation seat. So if you'll take a seat in what's most comfortable for you, and that could be on the floor, could be on a block, a blanket, on a chair, if that's what you need. And once you feel ready, then rest your hands in your lap, and you're welcome to close your eyes. As you close your eyes, it's just morning right now for most of us, though some of you are here from the East Coast. I did see that on the chat. So midday for you. Some are here from Alaska, so it's earlier morning for them. But let's imagine it's the dawn of our practice right now. So we're going to bring our antenna inward. And I'm going to ask you to bring that inward down to your heart and then to your solar plexus. Today's practice is going to focus on the third chakra. To the best of your ability, soften the area around your floating ribs. If you lengthen your spine up, the upper chest and heart need not press down against the floating ribs or the diaphragm, need not rest heavily on the organs in the abdomen. So give a little lift to the inner body and your heart. And invite there to be a softening across the floating ribs. And allow that softening to be an invitation for your body to then breathe more deeply, which means more deeply geographically, in the geography of your own body. It doesn't mean breathe more deeply like suck in more quantity of air. And when you turn your antenna inward, start to refine your attention to notice the moment-to-moment experience of the breath, so that you're able to sense the subtlety of the inflowing inhale and the outflowing exhale. And I'm going to ask you first to notice that subtlety in the low belly, in the region of the abdomen. And without making your breath more vigorous, also start noticing that subtlety at the back of your throat. What is the quality of the air and its pace and attitude as it enters, touching the back of your throat, expanding in the low region of your abdomen, and then the quality of the air as it exits from the low belly and crosses again through the back of your throat. Our focus this morning will be at the third chakra, and the dosha associated with the third chakra is the Pitta dosha. As a reminder, Pitta is water and fire. And because Pitta governs digestion, but also governs the throat, we are going to focus on the felt sense of the air passing through the back of the throat. At times in class, you'll be using your Ujjayi breath, and the air, attitude, tone, and pace in the back of the throat will change. At other times, I'll ask you to completely rest and observe what's happening, to be in your witness, which is what we're practicing right now. So as you witness that passage through the back of the throat, and deepen the relaxation of the low belly to allow the breath, and also begin to relax the hinge of your jaw. And then just bringing in a very quiet Ujjayi breath, place the tip of your tongue behind the top two teeth. Keeping the lower jaw relaxed, hollow the back of the throat so that the tongue at the back goes down slightly, and the back of the throat will feel more open. So that when the inhale comes in, you'll sense it touching the back vaulting of the throat. When the exhale goes out, I don't want you to close that vaulting at the throat. Please don't clench your jaw or let the teeth come towards each other. Keep the back of the throat open. So the Ujjayi sound will have a quiet whispering, which you will hear with your inner ear. And sometimes the quiet whispering of our wisdom must also be heard with the inner ear. So we release the noise of the world around us and the news, and we're going to listen inwardly during this practice. And please bring your hands together at your heart now. One of the imperatives at the third chakra is the experience of discernment, that we can discern the real from the unreal, the true from the untrue. We can discern forgetfulness and remembering. We can discern the finite from the infinite. You may sing with me. Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityodama Amritam Gamaya Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityodama Amritam Gamaya Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityodama Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha Hari Om. May all beings everywhere have this internal skill of discernment, to discern between the unskillful and the skillful, the non-beneficial and the beneficial, that which is inauspicious, that which is auspicious. So you may bow your head to your heart. And please release your hands. And I'd like you to come up to standing. And when you come up to standing, please reach for your yoga strap. And the yoga strap, we're going to just use it as a strap right now. So if you need a substitute for that, you can use a bathrobe tie. You can use a necktie, whatever you happen to have. And I'd like you to take the strap like this, so you have your hands shoulder width apart on the strap. And then simply inhale and raise your arms up overhead. And then you're going to, when you raise the arms up, root the tailbone down, lift your back ribs. So the solar plexus is not jutting forward right here. So you draw the front ribs slightly in and broaden the back ribs. And listen now for a little stronger Ujjayi breath. And even keeping the Ujjayi during the exhale, please don't constrict the back of your throat. Keep that open as you exhale. So the strength of the exhale is not from clenching the teeth or tightening your jaw or narrowing the back of the throat. The strength of the exhale begins in the deep low belly and moves upward towards the third chakra. Please take one more breath. And then when you exhale, start sliding your hands apart on the strap and bring it slowly down behind you. And as you do that, try not to have the floating ribs jut forward, but rather to stay in your full height. with the back of the waist also open. Right? So if you were to imagine the side view of your own body, you wouldn't right now be overarching your lower back like this. You're going to keep that drawn in. And please take a deep breath in, using your Ujjayi breath. Listen for the subtlety of any change in the breath that tells you that you're over-efforting. So the breath can be like your wise chaperone during your practice. It is capable of telling you when you're moving out of balance. It becomes different when you're striving, over-efforting, or pushing. Let's do one more inhale. And then exhale and loosen one hand on the strap, followed by the other, and let the strap come down. And as you pause here, invite your arms to hang loosely and quietly notice the temperature change moving down through your arms. Stay aware of that. And then hold the strap behind you so that you've got both hands holding the strap like this. And when you inhale, sweep your hands back, take the shoulders back. And again, when you're gliding the arms back like this, instead of having the front ribs jut forward, draw your floating ribs in, broaden the back of your waist, and then lift up through your heart and listen here to the Ujjayi breath as you're experiencing it right now. And listen for the breath to let you know if you are over-efforting or if you're under-efforting. So if the breath becomes lethargic, if you become forgetful about the breath, you may have to increase a bit of the dynamic quality of the breath. But if the breath becomes sharp, like we say pungent, if it becomes activated in terms of striving, you may have to lessen the dynamic nature of the breath. One more time, please breathe in. And then exhale and release both arms, let them dangle. And notice again the temperature running down through your arms towards your hands, fingers, and thumbs. And see if you might be able to breathe a little bit more lower in your abdomen just as a result of doing these two things. I'm going to ask you to keep the yoga strap. We'll use it a little bit later in class. But now step to the front of your mat for Surya Namaskar, for the sun salutation. And I'm going to ask you to use 2 blocks for this. And the way that I set my mat up this morning, I have in the middle of my mat, it's a cross. So I have padding here for my knees for Anjaneyasana. You might need to use a blanket, like one of these, to make padding for your knees. Okay, so please step to the front of your mat and come up to mountain pose. Join your palms together at your heart. You can close your eyes for a moment and listen again now to the Ujjayi breath, noticing its tone, pace, and attitude. I want you to be able to refine the breath during your practice so you really can sense when your fire goes to striving or when your fire begins to smolder. So keeping it balanced, now inhale, sweep your hands down, wide and up. And I'm going to ask you to look up and join the palms together like an arrow. And notice the feeling tone of the breath here. If you drop the head too far back, it will change the shape of the throat and therefore the experience of the breath. When you next exhale, sweep your arms wide and bow forward to Uttanasana. Inhale, glide your heart forward. Exhale, step your left foot back just for the basic lunge to get started. Press into your left toes, and as you inhale, rise up to your crescent lunge. Now we're going to do this practice a little bit like a wave on the ocean. So on the inhale, go up by straightening your right leg. Keep your eyes steady as if you were on a boat, and you'd have your gaze steady on the horizon, even though on the exhale, you're going to bend your right knee, like the wave comes back to the ocean. Then inhale to rise. Notice your Ujjayi sound. Exhale to descend. Again, inhale to rise. And exhale to descend. Keep noticing the shape of the throat and the experience of the breath passing through the back of the throat. As you inhale, the breath passes across the stress receptors inside the throat. As you exhale, the same. So you can imagine the message that you're right now sending to those stress receptors by how you're breathing. Okay, last time as you exhale, bend your right knee. And now inhale, sweep your arms wide and just come over to airplane pose like this. And then exhale, lightly touch the two blocks. Inhale, step your left foot forward. And exhale, step your right foot back. Inhale to rise, crescent lunge. Find a steady gaze. So Pitta governs the digestion, the throat, and the eyes, among other things. So steady gaze. Now inhale, rise up. Let the eyes not pierce a hole in the thing you're looking at, but rather keep your gaze steady and inward. So you're really taking very little interest in what your eyes are looking at, but that does help to keep you balanced on the horizon as we descend on the exhale and rise on the inhale. Listen for any sense that the breath starts to become striving or smoldering. Look for the balance in your own efforts. And one more time as you exhale, come to your crescent lunge. And then inhale, sweep your arms wide and come over your left leg like an airplane. And then exhale, lightly touch the two blocks. Set your blocks aside now and step backwards to downward facing dog pose. Now in your downward dog pose, place your hands so they are shoulder width apart. Press into your index fingers. Energize your arms to support your heart. And then listen to the Ujjayi sound. Because here now what you have is the head is lower than the heart. And sometimes we drop the head too far down in downward dog pose and it changes the shape of the throat. So listen for where the shape of the throat supports this really elegant Ujjayi breath for you. And keeping that smooth, inhale, come forward to plank pose. And then exhale down to Chaturanga Dandasana. Point your toes behind you, please. And inhale, roll up to Cobra pose, Bhujangasana. And exhale to roll down. And now the eyes will not have one steady place to gaze, but rather as you inhale to roll up, trace a line on the floor and upwards. And as you exhale to roll down, trace that line on the ceiling, wall, floor, back to your beginning. Inhale to rise. So you are giving your gaze a place to rest right now, but it's tracing a line because the pose is moving. So keep the Ujjayi and your eyes coordinated. We'll do one more Cobra pose. It's called Bhujangasana in Sanskrit. And one more roll down. It's called Pranam. Means to make an offering from the heart as you bow the head. Curl your toes under and inhale, press up to table pose. Okay, now in table pose, bring your gaze down between your thumbs. And with your Ujjayi inhale, press into cat pose and trace a line on the floor with your eyes back towards your knees. And then up into your lower belly. And then exhale to cow pose and glide your eyes down to the floor and then smoothly bring your eyes forward. And then inhale, cat pose. So your eyes, your breath, and your body should be synchronized here to the best of your ability. Exhale to cow. And inhale to cat. And once more, exhale to cow. Now your gaze is going forward, but not piercing a hole in anything that you're looking at. Curl your toes under. And as you inhale into downward facing dog pose, trace a line on the floor back between your toes. And when you look back at your feet right now, I'd like to imagine your footprints on the path of yoga, that you have stepped into the footprints of countless others who've been here practicing yoga for thousands of years. And these are your footprints today. So gaze back between the toes and try to sense that, the importance of staying on your path right now. Now, keeping your arms stable, your hips stable, and your left leg stable, when you inhale, raise your right leg high behind you. It's called one-legged dog pose. And then exhale and float your right foot forward between your hands. Establish your right heel, and now let's inhale to rise up, crescent lunge. Hold your gaze steady on the horizon, and then we inhale to go up, but the mind doesn't go up, the eyes don't go up. We exhale to root down. We inhale to rise up, and the pace of your breath here should be consistent between your inhale and your exhale, also honoring the pauses that are in your breath cycle. When you inhale to rise, there's a pause at the top of the in-breath. When you exhale into your crescent lunge, there's a pause at the bottom of the out-breath. Once more, inhale to go up. Exhale, crescent lunge. And then inhale, make a wide circle of the arms, come over to airplane pose. And then exhale, touch the floor and step backwards to your downward facing dog pose. Now in downward dog pose again, keeping your hands, arms, and shoulders stable. Inhale, raise your left leg up behind you. Don't lift it in such a way as you have to drop your right shoulder, but keep them steady. And then exhale, float your left foot forward between your hands. And then inhale, rise up. This is your crescent lunge. So you have this kind of chaperone responsibility, this steward responsibility for the breath, the eyes, and the body to create that most optimal yoga. So keep your eyes steady. And as you inhale, rise up. Acknowledge the inhale pause. When you exhale, eyes steady into your crescent lunge. Acknowledge the exhale pause. Inhale up. Exhale to descend now at the pace that is yours. We need this subtle capacity for our attention and concentration to use the Pitta dosha and the third chakra wisely and well. So one more time, inhale to rise. And exhale, crescent lunge. With the eyes quiet, inhale, sweep your arms wide and tracing a line down to the floor where your left foot is. Now inhale, step your right foot forward to meet your left foot in Uttanasana. And in Uttanasana, I'm going to ask you to use that line process again with the eyes. So when you inhale, bring your heart forward and trace a line on the floor until your gaze goes forward. And when you exhale, trace that same line back down to Uttanasana and gaze past your heels to all the footsteps that were before yours on the path of yoga. Inhale, glide forward. See your feet as you pass through there with the eyes and then gaze forward. And exhale to bow deeply towards your legs. And this time, inhale, rise up. So your gaze is going to pass through the feet, acknowledging your own footprints, and then rise up tall, Urdhva Hastasana. And exhale, bring your hands down to your heart and your gaze also in towards your heart. You may close your eyes. This time we'll do Anjaneyasana in the sun salutation. So inhale, sweep your arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. Lift your gaze to meet your hands. And then exhale, let's do Anjali Mudra. Take your gaze down with your fingers, down to the blocks, and then gaze back behind your heels towards the back of your mat and beyond. Inhale, glide your heart forward. Trace that line on the floor between your feet and then to the horizon. And exhale, step backwards with your left foot into the pose, the base of the pose called Anjaneyasana. Touch your left knee down, and then inhale and rise up to Anjaneyasana. And I'm going to ask you to hold steady in this pose so you can feel the stretch across the front of your left hip, the strength in your pelvis, and a good lift from the low belly upwards towards your heart. Now, keeping your gaze steady on the horizon, on the inhale, we'll have the arms up. When you exhale, sweep your arms wide, press your palms down, let the inner body go more upwards through the heart and the crown of your skull. Inhale, float your arms wide, like gathering in vitality. Keep your gaze steady. When you exhale, press your arms wide, like clearing the windows of the mind. Twice more, so keeping your eyes on something, but not penetrating that. Let your gaze actually be inward to feel the breath at the back of your throat and to feel the dynamic work of your body in the pose. Last one. And then exhale and float down. Trace a line on the floor towards your right foot. As you inhale, straighten your left leg. And then exhale, step your left foot forward to meet your right foot. So you're returning to your Uttanasana as you bow toward the legs. Gaze back behind the heels at the footsteps that have preceded yours. And then inhale, glide your heart forward, tracing your gaze on the floor, past your own feet into the horizon. Step your right foot back, please. As you touch your right knee down, stabilize your pose, and then inhale to go up to Anjaneyasana. When you find your place here in your pose, including that your gaze is steady on nothing in particular, so that your eyes can actually be inward, then we exhale, sweep the arms wide, clearing the windows of the mind. And inhale, raise your arms, gathering in vitality from nature. And exhale, sweep the arms wide. Give a little check on the tone of the breath in the back of your throat. It's a good time to ask, is it striving or smoldering? And now one more time, inhale, raise your arms. And as you exhale, come forward over your left leg. Let's touch the two blocks and straighten your right knee with your in-breath. And then exhale, step forward with your right foot and return to Uttanasana. Gaze back behind your own heels at the long line of footsteps that preceded yours on the path of yoga. And then place your hands, please, and step backwards again to your downward facing dog pose. And when you step back, steady your downward dog pose with your hands shoulder width apart. Press into your index fingers on the floor. And see if in downward dog pose, you can balance your inhale and your exhale, so the length is equal. And that might be different, you know, from time to time you feel like you're sort of striving a little bit more, you're working harder, working less hard, but do try to have this refinement in your effort. Can you keep the ujjayi smooth? The inhale balanced with the exhale, and your gaze back between your heels. Yeah, very good. And then let's inhale, glide forward to plank pose, please. When you arrive in plank pose, pause and put your gaze down between your thumbs. And even here, the breath can be equal from inhale to exhale, though it's probably not the same length of breath you would have if you were in seated meditation. Maybe not even the same breath you had for the length in downward dog pose. Yeah, and then exhale, bend your elbows, come down to the floor. Please point your toes. And then tracing a line again, so the eyes, the throat, and the body work together. Inhale, roll up to Bhujangasana, or you might choose seal pose this time, where you straighten the arms a bit more. And then exhale and roll down. Excuse me. So when you're rolling up and rolling down, be thoughtful about the undulation of the spine. So your gaze is the last thing to rise and the last thing to descend. And in no particular hurry, try to make the line of the eyes smooth. So you're not staccato. As you roll up, the body is smooth, the breath is smooth, and so too are the eyes. And please do that one more time. And then exhale, and as you glide down, I'm going to ask you to come into Makrasana. Make a pillow of your hands and rest your forehead on the back of your hands, or rest your chin on the back of your hands. You may close your eyes and observe your body going from action to ease. Going from exertion to surrender, from movement to stillness. Watch the process. This is your body intelligence taking care of you right now. It's also how we reset our digestion. We cannot be constantly active. We also have part of the nervous system is called rest and digest. We need to know how to get that reset, where we go from exertion to ease, action to stillness, effort to surrender. Okay, please walk your hands back towards your knees and rise up to kneeling. And then you can watch me for a moment. So I'm going to show a little sequence that we'll do here. It's going to be using the pose called Parsvottanasana. Let me clean my glasses. I can see the monitor in my room here, but there's something fuzzy on my glasses. So the pose is called Parsvottanasana, and we're going to be using it as a cross crawl pattern to use the two hemispheres of the brain. You do not need to be able to make it to the floor for this position, so please watch for a moment. When we set up, I'm going to ask you to have like the middle of your mat, because you're going to be rotating and you'll be going back and forth in that regard. So some of you know this practice, some of you don't yet know it, so please watch one time through. So here's the inhale. And then here's the exhale, and I scissor the right arm back as the left arm goes forward. I'm not trying to make it to the floor. I'm going to inhale and sweep the right arm up as I return to this position. And then on the exhale, we turn through the feet, hips, and legs. Now on the inhale, when I go forward, I scissor the left arm back. And then we exhale to rise back up to here. And then we'll be inhaling to rotate. So if you were paying attention, you noticed that that changed. On one, we're exhaling forward. On the other, we're inhaling forward. We're not doing it wrong. So come up to stand, please, so that on your yoga mat, you are facing the short side of your mat. Step your right foot forward, your left foot back, and establish the back heel to line up with your front heel or to be wider left to right. Here we go. Use your Ujjayi breath, please. Inhale, raise both arms. Exhale, bow forward and sweep your right arm back on the horizon. Gaze down towards your right foot. Inhale to rise, sliding your gaze on the floor, the wall, upper part of the wall. Rotate as you exhale. Now inhale, glide forward. Bring your left arm back as your gaze comes down towards your left foot. Inhale, glide forward with your left arm and your eyes. Exhale to rotate. So I'm going to do the breath again. I realize I missed a step there. Here's our inhale. Exhale forward. Glide your eyes down towards your right foot. Inhale to rise, energize your legs. Exhale to rotate. Inhale to go forward. Exhale to rise, root down to rise, tracing your eyes and lifting your left arm. Inhale to rotate. Exhale to bow forward, right arm back, bring your gaze gently down. Inhale, rise. Exhale, rotate. Inhale, forward, left arm back. Exhale, rise. Inhale, rotate. Last cycle, exhale forward, sweep your right arm back. Inhale to rise. Exhale, rotate. Inhale forward, left arm back. Exhale to rise. Inhale, rotate to center. And exhale to bow forward. Prasarita Padottanasana. And as you come forward and down, let this be a time for melting the straining or striving of the mind or the body. Energize your legs so there's still a kind of core of stability in the body, but let the torso, the third chakra, the heart, the mind get this kind of melty feeling right now. Good, and then please walk your hands back to your hips and you may rise up to standing. When you come up, now turn your toes out, bend your knees and come down like a jazz dance warm-up pose. Many of you know that I'm fond of this experience right here, especially as like a morning practice because we want to get the energy of the pelvis moving. There is a vayu, we call it, an energy pattern in yoga. From the low pelvis down, it's called Apana Vayu, and it's responsible for elimination. So whereas Pitta and the third chakra are responsible for digestion, this lower Vayu is responsible for elimination. You can glide back and forth at your own pace here. Do keep your arms straight so you have the longest torso possible from your hips to your armpits. And as you're gliding, notice the inner thighs. Keep your heels grounded so when you glide left, your left heel doesn't become ungrounded and the right is still in your attention. Let's go a couple times more. You could imagine that your boat is on the ocean again and your eyes are just totally steady. You're just so relaxed. And then come back to center in this pose, what you think of as your center. Close your eyes now and let the hips descend With one exception, if you are in the hypermobile Bendy Wendy Club, please don't have the hips descend into your innate flexibility. Sometimes we're overdoing that flexibility. And feel the breath going down now into the low belly, just like we started class. Is there a receptivity in the low abdomen right now? And what is the attitude of the breath at the back of your throat? And what is the feeling behind your eyes? And then press down into your heels, and please rise up to standing. And let's go heel toe to center like this. Okay, now we're going to use the two blocks and come down for a short seated practice that lets the pitta, the energy of rising up, be activated for confidence. So I'd like you to have both of your blocks, and when you take a seat, you can take a seat so that you are sitting on the floor, not on the blanket right now. And go ahead and start by sitting cross-legged. Cross your ankles whichever way you prefer that to be. And place your blocks on either side of your hips like this here. And I would say put the blocks on the medium height this way, not on the tall height, that's going to be unstable, but on the medium height like this. I'm also going to recommend that you're not so far back on your mat that if you were to roll backwards, you would hit your head on something. So please watch for that. I'm going to come forward. Okay, placing the two hands and the blocks. When you inhale, push down into the blocks to lift your hips up. So the hips can dangle like the limb of a tree or the ripe fruit at the end of the branch of the tree, but I want the upper body to be strong. So you press down with the strength of your arms while you're still breathing, and if you had to, while you were talking. Okay, take a deep inhale to the low belly, and then exhale, lower your hips down. Roll back to your tailbone and your sacrum. Pick up your feet and your hands and come into boat pose. So because my boat pose will cover my face, I'll keep my feet down, but you can take yours up if you like. So in your boat pose, I do want you to keep breathing, and your voice should sound, if you were using it, it would sound normal. Put your eyes on the horizon. And listen for the tone of the Ujjayi breath at the back of your throat. And then cross your ankles the other way and come down to your seat. Place your hands, push down to go up, inhale. Let the hips dangle so they're not touching the floor right now. And the strength of the pose is like the mast on the ship. Both of your arms should be that stable. Allow the breath to go deeply down into your lower abdomen. Keeping your gaze on the horizon. On your exhale, lower your hips down. Okay, now roll back, take the arms forward, pick up your feet. This is called baby boat pose, only have the feet low, but you can do full boat pose. It's going to cover my face, so I won't do it right now, so you can see this version of boat pose for me. Keep the breath smooth. So in fact, the boat pose should not be a time where you feel like you're trembling, nor that you're over-efforting. Please don't push your chin forward in boat pose, but rather keep the back of the throat hollow and open. And then exhale, cross the ankles again. We're going to add to the sequence now. Press down to go up. Let the hips dangle. And using the strength of your arms, I want you to press down so you can feel the force of your own strength. A little bit like coming back into your sense of agency and confidence, self-strength, self-efficacy. That's a part of the third chakra system right there. Discernment, strength, confidence, the ability to put action into place. Now as you lower the hips down, same idea, boat pose. Put the two blocks a little bit aside so they won't be in your way. Here's your boat pose. You may choose to straighten your legs up in your boat pose, like this. You may choose to keep them bent. Okay, deep breath in. And then place your feet, so they're going to go flat on the floor. I'll turn as a profile. Place your feet down, sweep your hands and arms back, and as you roll back through the hands and shoulders, go up to reverse table pose, like this. Okay, take a deep breath in. And then exhale and lower your hips down and reach for your 2 blocks, which are on either side of your hips right now. Cross your ankles, push down to go up. Breathing in, breathing out with your gaze steady. And if you were speaking, your voice would also be steady. Strong but steady. Okay, exhale, lower the hips down. Reach your arms forward. Take your legs up to boat pose. Breathing in, breathing out. We're going to cross the ankles, put the blocks aside so you don't hit them. Roll your feet down, excuse me, don't cross the ankles, roll your hands back. Here is reverse table pose. Inhale to go up. Notice the shape of your throat and the experience of your eyes. And then again, exhale, lower your hips down. We're going to add to the sequence one more thing. Stay with me, please. Inhale to boat. Cross the ankles, take your blocks. Inhale, push down to go up. Exhale, lower your hips. Let's go to boat pose. Exhale the feet down, sweep your hands back. Inhale, reverse table pose. Exhale to go down. Inhale to boat pose. Exhale, roll down like you're going towards Shavasana. Do not fool yourself, it's not yet Shavasana. So roll down slowly, maybe like you're in half boat pose right now. The lumbar spine comes towards the floor. And then the upper lumbar, the lower thoracic, mid-thoracic, upper thoracic, arms, shoulders, and head. Feel the heat in your body and try to enjoy it. I wish I could see your faces right now, and I'm sorry that I'm not able to directly because your camera is not on your ceiling. Take a deep breath in. Now for some of us, we can roll right back up to boat pose because we have that kind of strength or practice. If that's the case, you look forward, raise the arms forward, and come back up into your boat pose. Otherwise, you could use your hands to help yourself to come back up. So here's your boat. Okay, lower your ankles down, take your 2 blocks. Inhale, push down to go up. Last time for the whole sequence. Exhale, lower your hips. Rise up, boat pose. You lower the feet down, sweep the hands back. Inhale, reverse table pose. Exhale, lower your hips down. Here comes your boat pose as you inhale. And then exhale to roll down really slowly. Keep your eyes on the horizon or on your toes, but since the toes are lowering, you might prefer the eyes on the horizon. Come down really slow, no particular hurry. And this time, as you find the floor, take a starfish position for a few moments and watch your body going from exertion to ease, from activity to stillness, from effort to surrender. We must also consider surrendering the part of us that becomes too willful at the 3rd chakra. That's the part of us that goes into overdrive, that goes to striving. That part can feel very demanding to others, sometimes to ourselves. Okay, now please bend your knees. Place your feet flat on the floor and turn your head so you can see me on the screen. Okay, I'm going to scoot where I think I'll be in the center. So we're going to practice the spine twist process right now that we have done in some of the other classes. I want to make one thing clear, that the shins, knees, and thighs are going to be a unit. And to help this process, you're going to watch me use my right hand on the underside of my left knee. So that looks like this. Just watch for a moment. So if I drop the left knee down, the knees are more narrow now than the hips are. And I'm going to ask you to put your right hand under, right here at the left knee, And to kind of keep the knees level, but also to use the right hand to lengthen your left thigh right through here. And then you can twist and open your upper body to your left. So go ahead and find your way there in this particular pose. We're going to stay in this twist for several breaths. So if for you, your head needs support right now, take a blanket to put under your head. I do want you to keep the legs stable, because if we keep the pelvis stable, your twist is really going to the inner organs rather than into your sacrum. You can close the eyes. Relax the space behind your eyes. And let the breath tone now become more subtle. It's the more subtle version of your Ujjayi. This is not a dynamic pose. This is an inward pose. You may turn your head to your left if you haven't yet done so. With the eyes closed and your attention inward, please take a deep interest in your body intelligence and what it's doing for you right now. Like a deep and even profound appreciation. Your body is trying to keep up with the stress of the news, the stress of life, sometimes the stress of what you've eaten if it wasn't a nourishing food for you, the stress of your history and your conditioning, coloring the present moment in ways that might feel more scary and more urgent. But take a deep interest in this process inside right now, that your body intelligence is resetting towards your parasympathetic hum. You will be better able to digest your food and your thoughts and your emotions. Come into an inner attitude of confidence in your body intelligence. And I know that for some of you, your body intelligence has seemed a little bit distant lately. Sometimes it's hard for the intelligence of the body to be known to us because we are experiencing a certain level of stress or mayhem. And then we feel the body might even be betraying us. We have a headache, we have a digestive problem, we don't sleep well. But those are symptoms from your body intelligence giving you a hint that something is out of balance, that something needs your loving attention. We're going to transition shortly, so let's take the left arm and reach overhead on the floor, like the arc of a half circle, and then bring your left arm to reach towards your knees, and as a unit, roll onto your back and go to the other side. So you're going to lie down so that when you place your knees down to your left, I'm going to ask you to put your left hand into the crease of the right knee underneath, like this. And then keep the two knees stacked here. So it's knee, hand, knee. And then start the process of twisting to your right. You may turn your head to your right. You may also close your eyes. And while you're listening inside for this process, the Ujjayi sound can be the more subtle version of your breath now. And keeping the subtle sound of the Ujjayi, that subtlety is what's training your mind to become more discerning. And the discerning mind allows us to feel the symptoms of our life and our health as an opportunity for recalibrating, rather than those symptoms being something that seems to be interrupting our life. Please don't have any illusions that yoga teachers don't have health symptoms. Most of you know I've had a number of like just strange events. I had mercury poisoning. I had to have chelation for that. I had a blood cell infection from a spider bite. That was a very intensive journey. Last fall, I had a concussion. I still am healing from my concussion. So the yoga helps to make these life events more digestible. And we learn from our symptoms. We don't condemn them. So listen for your own subtlety right now in the breath. With the eyes really quiet. You're not evaluating yourself. You're not making a penetrating gaze to like pierce the truth of something where you're actually being too forceful with yourself. Invite this deep confidence that your body intelligence actually wants to be there for you, just like it is in the clematis vine outside of my window, in the eyes of your dog, in the tail of your cat if you have pets. Let's do one more inhale here. Let yourself exhale and then start the process of raising your right arm like a half circle on the floor to reach over and join your left arm. And then roll yourself onto your backside. We are getting ready for Shavasana, so we'll have some time to finish class with a seated pranayama practice. So please come into your Shavasana now, as comfortably as you want that to be. For Shavasana pose, I'm going to recommend that your Shavasana is comfortable and stable. And let me say a couple of specifics for the doshas. And so if you have been struggling with your mind becoming ungrounded, if your Vata dosha is like a windstorm in the mind, I would recommend that you have something gentle under your head so that your gaze is downward and the Udana Vayu, the throat Vayu, is closed temporarily. If you've been experiencing difficulty with being too fiery, feeling too urgent, too much demand that you place on yourself or maybe on others or life, you might choose to put your legs into the Baddha Konasana position where you have the two blocks for the knees, you put the soles of the feet together, and when you're lying back, you support the knees with the blocks like this. That's a digestive pose. Can help to bring the Samana Vayu from the stomach down towards the Apana Vayu in the lowest region of the pelvis. If you've been feeling lethargic or dull, maybe you sense that your motivation is waterlogged, so your Kapha dosha is stronger. In this case, I'm going to recommend when you're resting that you turn your palms face up in Shavasana and make a little bit more like a starfish for the arms and the legs. And don't let yourself fall asleep in Shavasana. If your Kapha dosha has been heavier, falling asleep in Shavasana is not recommended. So we're going to rest here for the next several minutes, and I'm going to be checking the time only on my phone. I'm sorry, that's all I have. I don't like to check it there, but I don't have a clock in my room. So please rest deeply. I'm going to sing to you. Asatoma Satgamaya Asatoma Sadgamaya Asatoma Satgamayo Tamasoma Jyotirgamayo Tamasoma Jyotirgamayo Tamasoma Jyotirgamayo Mrityorama Amritam Gamayo Mrityorama Amritam Gamayo Mrityorama Amritam Gamayo Om Shanti 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 Om Shanti 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 Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namah Shri Guru Pyo Namah Okay, over the next few moments, please allow for awareness of your body intelligence. Perhaps having reset to that parasympathetic hum, you have a sense of life caring for you right now. Circulating your blood, repairing the cells, digesting your food, respirating your lungs, nourishing your eyelashes. And then you may, just from that inner place of deep respect for this body intelligence, wiggle your fingers and your toes. Please bend one knee at a time. Roll to your right side. And as you come up to sitting, I'm going to come closer to the camera for our pranayama practice. I'm actually going to change my camera also because I want to be able to see you while I'm sitting, and the other camera is for standing. So let me navigate this. You can come up to your seat, please. My video. Okay, very good. So the pranayama that we're going to do, I'd like you to sit upright for this practice. And this is a cooling pranayama for those of us for whom our pitta shows up in the world as becoming too fiery. And what we might sense, if we're being sensitive enough, and often when pitta is out of balance, it's not sensitive. But if we were to be sensing it, when our pitta goes out of balance like that, we are coming across to others as demanding or a little bit rough or sharp. So this pranayama practice, you're going to be using an inhale through the mouth as if you were inhaling through a straw. It looks like this. So that's going to make the inhale very cool. The air is cool, cool, cool coming into the body. And then we're going to exhale out the left nostril only. Then we'll inhale again. And then we'll exhale out the right nostril only. In between the experience of the inhale and then to the exhale, you don't have to keep your arm up the whole time. This is a variation on Nadi Shodhana, the cleansing breath, using the alternating of the nostrils. Okay, let's try it together. Make the mouth a little bit like a straw, and here is your inhalation. Close the lips, and when the tongue gets a little bit warm, back to its regular temperature, then close the right nostril and exhale left side only. Release your right hand. Make the small opening of the lips and inhale again, please. Hold the breath until the lips and the tongue become their regular temperature. Close the left nostril, exhale right side only. Try that again. One more inhale through the straw. And then you're going to close the right nostril. And when the tongue is normal temperature in the mouth, exhale left nostril only. And here is the last inhale making like a straw. Bring the right hand up. Exhale right. Release both hands to your lap and sit really quietly. Sit really quietly. Let yourself become very still. The practice of yoga is more profoundly effective than just adjusting the muscles and the bones. This deep stillness of the mind allows us to see more clearly the inner wisdom and the reflectivity of life. So rest in your own deep quiet right now. The silence beyond the sounds. The quiet that precedes all thought. The silence that is not diminished by the rising or passing of thought. And from this place of deep stillness, you can now bring into your heart that everyone else who's practicing on the call with you right now, we are sharing a practice even though we can't share the geography of the practice right now. So please place one hand on your heart and just bring those others into your heart. And take the other hand and open it so it looks like this. You open the palm. You can place that wherever it's comfortable and imagine the heart of all others around the globe resting in the open palm. And then also bring them into your heart. You can put that hand on top of the other hand. And may all beings everywhere be free from unnecessary pain and suffering. May they have access to the means of their basic resources. May all beings everywhere, including us, may we have a sense of our innate belonging. And for those of us who might have to experience the suffering or the pain, may it be as gentle as possible. You may bring your hands together in Anjali Mudra now. We'll sing Om Shanti 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 together. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So a way to use your Anjali Mudra now, as you exhale, you bow your head to your heart, gazing at the Anjali Mudra. And the thumbs touch your own heart. And then you place your thumbs up at the third eye, bowing your mind to your heart. And then wishing well for all beings everywhere, we lift the gaze and open the palms like this. And then recognizing that others are wishing well for us, we place that into our hearts. Thank you very much, everyone, for being here. I want to make a couple of housekeeping announcements. One is that we posted a bulletin about memberships and donations on our website, thediafoundation.org. Also, the schedule is listed on the website now for the next week, and we're going to be adding some specialty teachings because you've been making requests. We want to respond to those requests. And I'll be leading a weekend retreat, a virtual retreat. I'm going to put this together. I've already said it will be provocative and profound, also restful. It's on COVID-19, looking through the lens of the chakras, the doshas, and the koshas. I really want to give us a boost, like an infusion, and a weekend retreat is a deeper simmering than our weekly classes like this. Our daily practice is essential, and then that weekend retreat is a deeper simmering. So please let me know if that interests you. I'll try to post it to the website sometime this weekend. And then thanks to my friend Melissa for being our co-host this morning, for stepping in like that. Thank you. We do now have time for visiting, and I'm happy to stay for a Q&A about your practice or this practice. And I always appreciate seeing your notes in the chat box, by the way. If you write to everyone, Zoom will save your chat for me to read it later. If you write only to me, I won't see it later. They don't save those particular ones. So let me now put the spotlight off so that